minister to the villagers at Gales Point. Gales Point is a little village, about 500 people, and we're going to start a ministry there. We're going to join existing missionaries at the Belize Mission and Retreat, and just about a couple miles away is this little small village called Gales Point. And we're going to start ministering there, get them excited about Christ, get them excited to do the work of the Lord, and then together we hope to spread out through all of Belize and share the love of Christ. Our second mission, I guess you would say, is to impact teams that come to serve on short-term missions. The Belize Mission and Retreat is a base that's set up to have missions, short-term missions teams, maybe from about a week to 14 days or a month, to come on down, churches, school, kids from schools, youth, come on and serve and help us in our ministry at Gales Point and throughout Belize. And then our third is to help organize the mission base. The mission base right now, there's no hot water. We run on solar energy. We live in about, I guess you would say, equivalent to log cabins. And we do have the internet, which is great, but we want to build up this infrastructure so that we can have this base to go out, and this will be our central point, so we can go out to the village, and we can go out to the other neighboring villages and go out to the country of Belize. This will really help us. So organizing the infrastructure is a huge, huge goal of ours.
All right, next slide. Okay, how will we do this? Some of the things that God has called us personally to be involved with in the ministry, there's actually a lot of things that they're doing now. They're involved in education with the kids and a lot of things, but some of the things that we're personally going to be working with is Melissa feels called to work with adult education and to build relationships with the adults there in order to be able to present the gospel to them. Most Belizeans only have a 6th grade education, and after that, school costs money, and so she wants to work with some of the adults doing reading and math, as well as we would like to start out a mentorship program for the young men in the church. The churches are, at least the ones that we've visited, are almost completely women, and the young men are just not present there. And a lot of these young men are getting saved at a young age, and at least in the village where we were, and then as they would grow up, they would be lost to the drugs and the temptations of the world.
And there's no family unit in Belize. There's no husband and wife and children. It's basically the woman and the child raising, and the man comes and goes as he pleases. In the village, marriage does not exist.
So it's a pretty sad situation. We also feel like God wants us to model what a godly family is, and through that show how to raise a family in a godly environment. The next thing that we want to do is just the teams that come down is really present the opportunity for them to get involved in missions in a very practical and real way. And hopefully through that, God will call other people to full-time missions. Because we know that most people who are called to missions do some sort of short-term experience first. That was indeed our experience. We've both been on several short-term mission trips. And that is really a big part of why God called us to do that. So we really want to just be available to the teams that come down and minister to them as well. And then the third thing is, because I have a technical background, I really want to work on the infrastructure there around the base so that we can have more teams. A lot of times they're having problems with supply of fresh water during the dry season and electricity shortages and things like that. And so I want to be able to use the background that God's given me to further that.
A lot of people ask us a big question, well, what do you need? And we've been kind of in this process for almost about a year and a half now, and just getting all of our paperwork so we can become missionary appointees. And but first and foremost, of course, what we need is prayer. Prayer, as you know, changes things. It has, prayer in our lives personally has just been a huge focus in our relationship and our relationship with others. We've had people pray over us And we ask that you please pray for us as we go out and we do this. We pray that God will help us during this deputation process, that He will strengthen us and give us the words to say. Please pray that God will continue to increase our faith. We have big faith, I think. But I want bigger faith. I want more faith. I want God to increase our faith. Some things I don't have a lot of faith in. But I would just please pray that God will increase our faith throughout this process. And please pray for the people in Belize, not only for those in the village and throughout Belize, but please pray for the missionaries that are already there. There are so many things that are going on down there, and we are just really excited. We want to go and join them, but until we can, please pray for them. And also, how else is through ministry partners, churches and individuals that are willing to support us, willing to form an ongoing partnership of giving, of sending teams, and also, of course, as I said, in praying. We also need funding for special projects, such as a car. We have a Jeep to take down there because the roads are really rough, and a house. Keeping in mind that the car and the house are all being donated back to the Belize Mission and Retreat. So nothing that we have will be ours, but it will be everybody's to share. And that's how it is on the base. And another special project, which Sean's going to talk about, is the desalinization and energy projects.
Well, just, as I mentioned before, those are things that as we expand the capabilities of the base, we can really reach and do more with more teams coming down. We'd also like to have a trade school on site to be able to bring people in and further have opportunities to spread the gospel that way. So those are just things that I'm really keen to get involved in. So
we have a small water source, especially during the drought season, and right in front of our base, about 50 feet away, is this huge, vast ocean. And one thing that we want to do is use that water, but we can only do that if we have a desalinization system. Go ahead, Nancy.
We just want to thank you for having us here this morning, and we just pray that you'll pray about partnering with us to reach the people of Belize. It's something that God has laid in our hearts, and we're just excited about going and sharing Christ's love with them. As you were mentioning this morning, the greatest command is love, and that's really the whole reason why we're going, is to really spread God's love, that He's given us so much, and we feel like we have to give back. And so,
and there's a big story about how He came to follow God's call to go to Belize specifically, and we wanted to share that with you, although we don't have a lot of time. But if you would like to hear that or read more about it, it's up in our website, www.bjorgens.net. That's a whole blog, and I keep I write in it at least once a week, if not more. And our story is one of redemption. It's one of God saying, you must be obedient. Not that we haven't. We had a choice. We did have a choice. We could have chosen to not go, or we could have chosen to be obedient. And it's so important to say that. Even though, like a little child, we don't want to do something necessarily, but God says we must do it. And because of that obedience to Him, He has revealed to us His will. And now, instead of it being such a struggle, it's not a struggle. It's such a tremendous blessing. And we are so thrilled. So, if you can't tell.